The morning was so still you could hear the whisper of the breeze through the tall grass. Out here in rural Missouri, miles from anyone who'd fuss about a barking dog or a loud radio, the world felt like it belonged to you. That's how Tom Carver liked it. His backyard pond wasn't just a patch of water, it was his sanctuary. He dug it himself, every shovel of dirt a step toward peace after 3 tours in Iraq. The kind of chaos he'd seen there didn't fade easy. Sleep was a battle most nights, but out here, with the dawn light dancing on the water and his German shepherd, Ranger sprawled by his boots, Tom could breathe. The world was quiet, until it wasn't. It started with the crunch of gravel, tires tearing up the dirt road too fast for a friendly VY sit. Tom stood slow, tugging the brim of his cap down, eyes narrowing toward the sound. A black SUV rolled into VYEW, polished to a shine, looking like it belonged in a city, not out here. The engine cut off, and 2 men hopped out, decked in what Tom could only describe as discount store tactical gear black boots, cargo pants, vests with iron-on patches screaming HOA compliance enforcement. The taller one, a bald guy built like a fridge, pointed at Tom like he was calling out a stray dog. The shorter one, clutching a clipboard like it was his lifeline, trailed behind, trying to match the big guy's swagger. "Hey, you," the bald one barked, storming across Tom's lawn. "This pond's illegal. Unauthorized land use. You can't fish here." Tom blinked, rod still in hand, wondering if he'd heard right. "Say that again," he asked, voice low, stance steady. The clipboard guy piped up while VYing his papers. "This water feature, VY OLAT's Community Code 32A. Unregistered. You're not allowed to maintain it." Tom let out a dry chuckle, not because it was funny, but because it was absurd. "You boys lost? There's no HOA out here." The bald one scoffed, flipping through crumpled papers. "Common mistake. You're under the Greater Stone Valley Association, Section C, Subsection 12. Tom took a step forward, boots grinding into the gravel path he'd laid himself. "I've lived here 15 years. Built this pond with my own hands. Got permits from the county, title's clear. I know if I was in some HOA." The bald guy's face twitched, annoyed. "Sir, you're trespassing on community regulation. We're authorized to shut this down and issue a citation." "Citation?" Tom folded his arms. "From who? You two look like you ordered those vests off the internet." The bald guy ignored him, grabbing a bright orange traffic cone from the SUV and tossing it into the pond like he was claiming territory. Ranger growled low, ears perked. Tom didn't hush him. "This is a non-compliant structure," the clipboard guy said, scribbling with a shaky hand. "Cease acti VY tie now, or we'll escalate enforcement." That's when Tom saw fear behind their tough guy act. The clipboard trembled just enough to betray them. These weren't officials. They were bluffing, picking what they thought was an easy mark. Problem was, Tom had faced real danger Fallujah, bullets snapping past, friends bleeding out beside him. These guys, they were a bad costume party. He stepped closer, pulled off his cap, and spoke soft but sharp. "Boys, I fought in wars, buried good men, saw things you wouldn't sleep through. Unless you've got a federal marshal's badge and a court order, start walking backward. Slow." They froze. Bullfrogs croaked in the distance. Ranger's growl filled the silence. Then, just as quick as they'd come, they scrambled back to their SUV, but not before slapping a crooked stop work notice on Tom's mailbox, muttering about a follow-up inspection. As their taillights faded, Tom didn't feel relief. He felt something darker. Not fear, not even anger, disgust. For them, and for what they stood for. People who preyed on the quiet ones, the ones who'd already given enough. He wasn't about to stay quiet. The cone floated in his pond for 3 hours before he fished it out. Not because he was scared, but because every glance at it felt like a slap. He set on his workbench, a reminder. Then he sat at his kitchen table, black coffee steaming, and got to work. Tom wasn't just a soldier been recon, trained to track, to find. The internet was his new battlefield. 15 minutes later, he found them. The same 2 clowns on a Facebook page called Regional Code Enforcement Initiative. No government ties, no real agency, just photos of them in their dollar store vests, holding fake citations next to confused old folks. A deeper dive traced their LLC to a Kansas City mailbox rental. No office, no staff. A scam, plain and simple. Tom leaned back, staring at the ceiling fan. This wasn't just about him. These guys were hunting the vulnerable widows, retirees, people like him who kept to themselves because life had already been loud enough. He thought of Pete, 3 plots down. Old Marine, Korea vet, 78, walked with a cane but still wore his SARE VYC cap like it was glued on. Last month, Tom noticed Pete's flagpole was gone. He'd assumed it fell in a storm. Now he wasn't so sure. He called Pete. "Hey, it's Tom Larson." A long pause. "Hey, soldier. What's up? Did some guys in black vests ever show up at your place?" Another pause. "Said my flagpole broke setback code. Gave me a fine. Said they'd call a magistrate if I didn't take it down. I ain't got the fight in me anymore, Tom. Let it go." Tom's grip on the phone tightened. "They scammed you, Pete." A sigh came through the line. "Figured. But what's a man do at my age?" Tom's stomach churned. Then he remembered Clara, next door. She'd mentioned her birdbath said some guys told her it messed with migratory birds. She paid $300 to settle and baked them cookies while writing the check. Tom's blood boiled. This wasn't a one-off. These were predators running an intimidation racket, hitting isolated properties with fake legal jargon and walking away with cash or compliance. And everyone just let it happen. That night, Tom sat by the pond, Ranger at his feet, a notebook in his lap. Not a diary, a list. Names, dates, addresses. Everyone within 10 miles who lived alone, who'd had a VY sit, whose property had changed in the last 3 months. By bedtime, he had 12 names. Most were veterans, all were quiet. He stared at that list like he used to stare at maps in Ramaticold, calculated. Then he started planning. Not revenge. Justice. They came back louder, cockier. One even brought a net, like he planned to drag something or someone out of the pond. Tom was ready, knee-deep in the water, fly rod in hand, dressed in his old army fatigues. "Come, sir, you're in non-compliance and subject to HOA detainment," the bald one sneered. "HOA doesn't do detainment," Tom said, reeling his lines slow. "We do now." The other grinned, reaching for his walkie. Tom gave a sharp whistle. Ranger bounded from behind the fence, 90 pounds of trained muscle, ears locked forward, silent but deadly. "You boys might want to leave," Tom said. They didn't. They charged in, slipped. Tom had greased the slope with biodegradable fishing oil. They flailed, slid, and splashed into the pond like a bad dive team. Clara's husband, watching from his porch, filmed it all, laughing so hard his oxygen tank wheezed. Tom reeled his line in, watching them thrash. "You okay down there? Water's nice, huh?" "Help! We're drowning," one screamed. "Nah," Tom said. "You're marinating." The VY Deo spread like wildfire. By sundown, it was everywhere, comments piling up. "Fake cops get what they deserve. Don't mess with vets." HOA? More like hell no authority. The sheriff, an old high school buddy, showed up after the scammers called the cops on Tom. He wasn't laughing when Tom handed over a flash drive with the footage and a folder thick with research on the frauds. "Tom, you could have just called us," he said, shaking his head, "and missed the chance to fish and serve justice." Tom grinned. The sheriff chuckled. "Next time, skip the grease." The scammers had hit over 20 families. They were arrested impersonating officers, fraud, trespassing, the works. Pete sent Tom a letter a week later, for words in shaky ink. "Thanks for the pond." Tom smiled, went back to fishing, Ranger by his side. Some battles are fought overseas. Others, right in your backyard.